Well, good evening everybody and welcome to James's X3 Albion Prelude Tips and Tricks Volume 1. Point of this video is just to give you some initial pointers if you're new to the X games. They are some of my favourite games. I would say probably X3 Reunion, which is one of the predecessors in the iterations of this game, is one of my favourites ever. But they're not easy games. So what I thought I would do is just do a little bit of a pointer to show you a couple of tips and tricks and a bit of the control systems if you're new to the game. I will take you through basic ship functionality, tell you a little bit about time dilation, how to speed things up, tell you a little bit about how to bring up universe map, how to bring up the sector map, how to fire, how to fly around generally, and also we'll talk about about saving as well, because unfortunately in the X games saving is not as easy as it first should be. So yeah, just about to launch in. Oh look, rocks! £5 for the Doctor Who reference. So, welcome to the bridge of the USM Vortigern. This is my lovely little Argon Centaur, which is an M6 class ship. You will, if you're playing X games, you'll become very, very familiar with all the various types of ship. And as you can see, we're just sort of bumming around in the third person. One of the great things about the X games is just being able to sit there, watch ships and listen to the music. But you didn't come here for that, you came here to hear some tips and tricks. So, first things first, let's bring the HUD display back up. There we go, you can now see everything. You can deactivate the HUD by pressing Shift H. And now you see the first person view, which is the view that you will probably be starting off with, and the view that you're most likely to see first of all. So if we follow the mouse, we can see that we are at this point in time just browsing through some of the menu options down on the left hand side. And if we scroll down, you can see that we've brought up the personnel information. So this is all about you and your pilot. You could be, I suppose you can be a pirate. Your name, your money, how much stuff you've got, all that kind of thing, and also your race rankings. Very important. We'll talk about that maybe later. This here you can see is the command console tab. This relates directly to your ship. If you want your ship to be able to go anywhere and do stuff, you need to tell it what to do. That's the weapons tab. This is actually the tab we want, and you can see there command console. If we click that, this brings up the kind of navigation, and you can see here you can tell it to go somewhere, do stuff. This is the universe map. The universe map tells you about all the sectors you visited in the known universe. It allows you to traverse them, and it also allows you to plot courses out of a particular sector. If we click in the sector that we're already in, usually the one that's flashing, this then brings up the sector map. The sector map shows you all of the ships, all of the stations, everything that you want to see. Going back to them, you can come out. You can also short key them, and what I mean by that is that there are keyboard hotkeys that will allow you to get to them immediately. If you press comma, that will bring up the galaxy map. And if you want to bring up the map of the sector you're in, just press the full stop key. Love ginger beer. Right, so coming back, you will now see that we're sort of bumming around, as I said. But one of the things about the X series that's I would say a positive, but it's also can be a negative, is the fact that the sectors are very, very big. And particularly in early game, when you're bumming around in your little cargo ship, or you're trying to make your first trade run, can take an absolute age and a half to get anywhere. So what do? Well, you can use what's called the SETA, which is a time dilation device which allows you to speed up time. So rather than pottering around at the moment, which we are at sort of 63 ms, click that button and we've increased time by 1000%, meaning that we are able to get across sectors to our perspective much, much quicker than we otherwise would be. This can be very, very useful early game. And particularly when you're making money as well. If you set up your early factories and you're just sort of bumming around waiting for some, getting some credits in, it can be great. You can just put it on, go make a cup of tea, and you may have made about $1 million by the time it comes back. So, now we're going to be moving on. Aha! That is a Split. He is a member of the race that occupies this particular sector. We are in Split space. And he was just telling us that he'd scanned our ship and that there wasn't any, drugs or, prostitutes or anything like that. So we're clean, which is good to know. Right, next thing to talk about is how you actually make your ship go places. Very important. But before that, let's talk about basic moving around. Up and down, left and right, as you'd expect. If you press the Q, as we've just seen, you will roll to the left. And if you press E, you'll roll to the right. Actually, that's the other way around. My apologies. Q rolls you to the right, E rolls you to the left. You've also got strafing. Very important when you come to fight bigger ships, capital ships, Titans, M1s, etc. Strafing is a great way to get round what will be much more powerful but much slower weaponry. It's generally the controls that you have if you've ever played Quake. So W takes you up, A takes you to the left, S takes you down, and D takes you to the right. You can probably see previously as we were doing that the dust on the screen started changing direction, indicating that we were indeed strafing. Now, you see this gate in front of us. If we want to go through that gate, we've got a number of ways of doing it. So we can either bring up the control tab, as I've said before. If you want to shortcut to the navigation command console, it's Shift-C. Bring up navigation and fly to. It takes you to the sector map, or the galaxy map, I should say, and you can then click it. However, you can just highlight it and click on the button, then it'll automatically take you through. Notice again there the shortcut Shift-A. If you want to follow anything, for example, you might have a mission that says you need to protect this particular ship, you may need to go to this particular area. If you highlight an object and Shift-A, you will follow it. Very useful. Right, so that's that. Now I think we're going to be talking to you a little bit about targeting. Targeting is another one of these sort of areas in the game that is not easily and immediately obvious as how you do it. But it's all done by pressing the K button. Once you press K, you'll notice that the text in that bottom left-hand corner is cycling. It cycles between on, off, and semi. No jokes. What this relates to is your ability to bring up I suppose you could call it a sort of a reticule that will allow you to easily target other ships. So what I've done here, just to demonstrate, is I've highlighted this little ship. You'll notice that we're currently set to off. And I'm just going to accelerate so that we get close to him a little bit more quickly. Now this really comes into its own, I should say, when you get into firing range. And for most weaponry systems on a medium-sized craft, you're probably talking about 3 or 4K. When you get up to bigger ships, you might be talking 9 kilometers. Right, now you can see I press K there, and the reticule has appeared. If I press it again, it starts flashing, which means that we've got fully active and fully integrated HUD. And it means that at that point in time where I to shoot, I would actually, as I'm doing now, just to let you know, you can shoot by pressing either pressing Control, or if you want to do it using the mouse, it's the right button click. So going back to firing just for a second, yeah. So if you want to know that you'll actually hit a ship, switching the targeting system to on, and just wait for that to flash red and fire, and effectively it's a prediction. So it tracks the path of your target, and it assumes that you will be in a certain place in a certain time. We're about to pass through the gate, so we're about to see the first warp tunnel. And that's the warp tunnel taking us to our next system, which should be Roncar's Clouds.
System, Roncar's Clouds.
And here we are. Welcome to Roncar's Clouds. That was a terrible piece of editing. Sorry about that. Now, the thing I'm going to do here, first thing I'm going to do whilst I talk to you, is I'm going to make the ship idle. This is something you will spend a lot of time doing in the X universe. Great to do, to just bum around and see a system. Now, the next thing to talk to you about is saving. Saving in the X games is not actually that straightforward. You see, initially, you can only do it in 2 places. You can either save inside a station, or you actually have to get something called salvage insurance. But I'll talk to you about that in a second. So if you want to actually just bring up the save option, you press escape, and then you can just scroll down and click save. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dock at a station, dock at sector map, and I've selected a Rastar refinery. Rastar is a kind of black oil that the Split use in their sort of munitions and shipping. And now I'm going to just, I've ordered my ship to dock, so it'll now potter off and dock at that particular station. But as I said, I don't think the saving system in the X games is particularly good, actually. I don't see really why they did it this way. But when you first start the game, you will probably, find yourself potting around and think, oh, I've flown a couple of 100 kilometers or whatever, I've seen a couple of systems, I really want to be able to save my game. No, you can't. The only way you can do it is by highlighting a station and docking at it. Now I'm going to quick dock because I've got what's called a docking computer. Should be quick docking. And here we are.
All hail the family Ronkar. The Split Dynasty welcomes you on board.
And once you've done this, you then highlight the save option, click escape, and then scroll down. I thought we were going to save there, we're not. Okay, so you can undock from a station by pressing escape and pressing enter. Right, but now we need to talk to you about salvage insurance. So I brought up the personnel screen again, as you can see, just scrolling up and down it. And if I scroll up, you will see an entry for salvage insurance. There we go. And you can see we've got 255. In the X games, if you want to save in space, let's say you're in the middle of a battle, you actually have to buy it. And I'm now going to show you where you actually can go and buy salvage insurance, because I actually think it's one of the most important things that you obviously that you want in the game. You want to make sure you've got, if you're in a tight spot, but you think you're going to get out of it, you want to be able to save. So we're going to jump. So I'm going to select the command console again. Well done, James. Come on. There we go. Command console. Navigation. Jump to sector. Now, one of the upgrades you can buy for your ship is what's called a jump drive. This is effectively a faster than light travel, and it uses the predefined gate network that you've already discovered. If you found a sector, you can jump to it, providing you've got enough energy cells, which you have to buy. And if you can jump to a sector, it's indicated by a flashing white box. Otherwise, it will just be highlighted in red. We've now highlighted Home of Light, which is the sector we want to go. We've highlighted a jump beacon. You can jump through gates, but sometimes it's easier to jump into a jump beacon mid-system. And we're now just waiting for the system to jump us to Home of Light.
90. Jumping.
There we go. And our warp portal again. And here we are arriving in Home of Light.
System. Home of Light.
Now I'm going to pan the ship down, and you will notice that very, very attractive and rather large station, which is the TerraCorp headquarters. TerraCorp headquarters, there are lots of corporations in the X games, and that's something potentially we might talk about at a later date.
Successfully docked.
Fast docks
On
again.
behalf of our President and Senator, the Argon Federation
Okay,
welcomes
now
you
we've
aboard.
clicked the menu. Actually, I think we'll go back if that's all right.
Local trading network established.
So when you dock at stations, this is the menu you see initially, and when you want to trade with them, you have to obviously click trades, which you can do either by pressing D or by clicking that link. And now you can see all the ways that you can trade with the station. So if I scroll down, you can see all the various things. This is the salvage insurance. This is the save games that I was talking about.
Salvage insurance.
So I'm just going to buy a couple.
Recoverable program.
I usually buy a couple of hundred at a time. And these are some of the specialist wares that you can buy in from the TerraCorp. So you can see the jump drive there. You can see beneath it the Singularity Engine Time Accelerator, which is the SETA. Finally remember what that meant. You've also got a transporter device. You've also got trading system extension. Very useful for trading with ships remotely. We'll talk about that later. Transporter device also allows you to transport wares between ships, and also allows you to transfer between ships. This is, as I said, we've just highlighted that. Very, very useful. And then the third thing that is extremely useful about the TerraCorp headquarters is it allows you to buy what's called the Trade Command Software Mark III. This becomes very important when you come to create what are called sector traders. So we've now undocked. We can now save if we wish to, just by pressing Shift S, and that will bring up the save menu. And that really is all there is to it. Just idling again whilst I continue to talk to you. Right, final thing I'm going to show you is your property. Obviously you buy lots of ships and stations, you want to know where they are. Here is the property tag. The way that you bring this up is by pressing R, and you can see all of the various ships, all the various factories that you currently own. And obviously you want to, in case any of them are under attack, or you want to check how much money they're making, etc. You can get this from pressing R, or you can get it from just highlighting that and pressing the R tag. Okay, so that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. I will probably do another one later on. If you have anything you'd like to talk to me about, anything you'd like me to tell me or focus on, let me know.